Hello Norathians. Today I want to tell you the story of how I started my adventure in Project 1999. I actually started playing because while I was getting footage for my other amazing series that you should totally watch, I ran into this P99 video series that really intrigued me and made me want to try it out for myself, so I did. I made this sexy-ass, half-elf warrior that will eventually become the best Giga Chad tank or DPS in the game. I had no idea what any of this meant, so I chose to be agnostic and to spawn in Freeport. Then I had to figure out how the game worked by looking in Google how to open the settings menu since I had no idea of how to do it and absolutely nothing is explained to you in this 26-year-old game. I also realized I can't play in full screen mode because the game crashes every time I try to do it, so you will have to excuse me if some of the footage looks shitty. After kinda setting up my game and setting my first super shitty UI, I met Indigo the Brad, which was the first person I met in this game and grouped with. We killed some bats, skeletons, wolves, snakes, beetles and orcs for a while. When I got to level 3 he showed me how to use the vendors in this game and also tried to show me where to buy water, since I had none left and food in this game is really important. If you don't have food or water in your inventory at all times, you won't regain HP while out of combat. So we went to a couple cantinas and inns in the area until we found someone that sold water and muffins. I was also told to save this pickaxes for a quest turn in later on, but I already had my inventory full and I didn't know if I should keep them, or dispose of them. But he showed me there was a bank system in this game, and so I left them there. I then got level 4 and he had to go, so I kept grinding alone. At this point I had no idea of where to go and I couldn't really find my way through Freeport since I had no idea of the layout of the city or which direction I was going, so I was basically running around in circles until I reached this place and assumed it was okay to move of zones at level 5. It actually was okay, so I got into the East Commonlands and kept killing stuff there. I was now also collecting this bone chips since apparently I could get them to make some good noob money. While grinding in this area I found this tunnel and went into it out of pure curiosity after watching this letter K written in dead bodies. It turned out to be the area where everyone in Norath comes to trade and shit, so I was actually kinda glad I chose a nice spawn area while making my character. I then went back to grinding. And while doing something I really can't figure out in Freeport, I met Versatile, a noble and kind soul that provided me some very needed information about me needing bags in my inventory so I could carry more stuff, and also gave me this absolutely disgustingly overpowered hammer that a noob should definitely not have, but it's awesome and I loved it. He also gave me a bag that would reduce the weight of the stuff I put in it, along with some gems that I could sell for money, so thank you very much man. I then bought a kite shield and some armor and got back to grinding just to meet Eric, who gave me some swords and gloves, and Kurakai, who actually offered himself to make me some bandit armor with his other character, Kurakus. So he took me to the blacksmith, and made me this epic looking bandit armor. I thanked him and went yet again, back to grinding alone. I then experienced my first death. But since I managed to get inside and in before I died, it was actually quite easy to get my stuff back and the amount of XP lost was not bad, so it was okay. At this point I was also informed I had to go and level my sense heading ability at least once before it could start to level up, so at this point I had about 30 hours into the game and I had been navigating blind all this time up to this point. I was also informed I had picked the hardest class in the game and the worst option for noobs, so I decided to push forward and eventually reached level 10. The Friendly Druids Guild made me a part of their ranks and some of them started to explain a lot to me about how the game works. At this point I was kinda getting tired of grinding alone, I was already about to quit when Spirit Dawn teleported me to the Elves Tree City and showed me this cool dungeon called Crush Bone where I was able to find groups and grind efficiently. I then joined my first squadron of GigaChad gamers and we were farming the inside of this dungeon's castle for a little bit of time, but it did got me level 13. I was then given this shiny shield from Jig Gun. I went back to Crush Bone and kept getting XP with Romley until he had to go and then more people joined us and after that, I had Nilla show me how to turn in some quests and I was sent to a place called the Estate of Unrest, but before I could get there I had to go through this high level area called Dagnar's Cauldron, in which I almost died a couple of times, but was actually able to make it through. Get a group and start leveling once again. The group disbanded, and I joined another one, but they were too high level so I was getting no XP and I had to wait for a group of my level to show, which eventually did, and we actually stayed in here a long time. Sunflare was also showing off his cool-ass weapon to us. We were doing so good, we actually moved to a higher level location and kept grinding there. Eventually the group had to go and so I came back later and found another group. Which eventually also disbanded and so I had to get level 20 on my own. After this I wanted to learn how to travel on my own, so I headed to the ports from the Dwarf City and met Doral Din, who was apparently also a noob and seeing this with me for the first time ever. After a solid 15 minutes of boat travel we arrived at our destiny and Torlaki was actually very nice and bound my ass to Freeport. I went to the trading tunnel and sold some bone chips, and bought a new pair of weapons, which were totally unnecessary since I was gifted new and better weapons like 5 minutes after. Lidrath gave me this new weapons because Torlaki told him I was in need of better weapons, so thank you very much guys. Also I now have to introduce to you guys to Duskmaker, which has been taking care of me like a true real GigaChad girl and has carried my ass and given me lots of new armor and information to handle myself better in this game. He got me basically a new set of gear which now has extra stats and also got me to Castle Mistmore, which is the zone I will be leveling at next. He then swapped to his warrior character, Melal, and we kept leveling together. We found Romley and some new party members and kept going for a while. People kept coming in and leaving, but we went for hours and hours. I actually got from level 19 to level 23 in a matter of hours that day, before logging off at 3 AM. The next day I went back to Unrest and got a group for a brief period of time. Before they had to go, I did got to level 24 with them though. I then went back into Castle Mistmore since there were no players online in the Estate of Unrest at that moment and I got level 25. Which got me another passive ability. Duskmaker then carried my ass along with Sunfire, who was also carrying me around at this point since I'm pretty sure I don't do much in groups with my two usable abilities. Duskmaker then taught me how to pull stuff in this area. The group disbanded yet again. I got another group, proceeded to get level 30. And logged off for the day. Someone also gave me new armor and some platinum, but the footage got corrupted and I can't remember your name. Sorry brother. But here I find myself, hungry for more adventure and anxious to discover what Noreth has to offer. You can be sure I will keep grinding my way to higher level zones, try to get some cool gear and continue to be an absolute useless team member that tries very hard by pressing his two abilities every time we engage in combat. What will happen next in this epic adventure? For now, Only time will tell.